Hey peeps, right, I'm Scott Evan Williams. It's actually my freelance workstation with the 3 screens, and underneath is all my hardware, and I also had a motion capture camera. I'm not quite sure whether you saw it or not. It is actually very simply the Xbox One camera. I think I've got it upstairs, I'm not quite sure, but can't use it here. Anyway, so you want to get involved and get a job in the games industry. Let me tell you this off the bat, 50%, if not more, are going to get straight away chucked away, because there are going to be 1 or 2, maybe more interviewers, like The Apprentice, I guess. You know, they're going to interview one after another. If it was just one, that's great. The reason you will get to the interview stage is because they've been impressed with work that they've seen you do, and work that and the way you present yourself, I should say, to them. So well done if you come across as that way. You need a lot of confidence. You need to know that is what's really important. Health and safety. You really need to ask them questions when they ask you, have you got anything to ask me? Because that is the only time you will have to impress them, because they'll see that you've got it ticking over, that you wanted to ask a question, and because it was their interview that you've got to remember, not yours. They're the one that are going to be asking you questions, so you'll have the chance, if they so let you, to ask them questions at the end of it. My personal questions have always been, what software do you mainly use? What team am I going to be with? What are the prospects of going higher and higher, as in being a senior art manager, if you will. And because there are a lot of positions in the art world, as you know, it's very difficult to make a decision. Do I want to be, everybody wants to get paid more for what they're good at, fair enough, but do you want, but you may be asked to take on more than you're willing to. To that, I'd just say go for it, because otherwise they'll find someone who they know can. So you'll just be fired, and that's the way it goes. The game industry is very fluid. If you're not doing your job, if you have a problem with someone else and you haven't professionally sorted it out, and you haven't gone to somebody else saying, our two methods don't mesh, all you've really got to remember is you got the job, they're professionals, they get paid to do the work that they're doing, so you leave them to it. If you do find yourself having a problem with somebody, take them to one corner, or if you come across a problem with a teammate, then you just say, look, this may be not working, so can we just water under the bridge and whatnot, because you'll get fired if you can't meet your deadlines and you're not doing the job properly and you're seen to be disruptive. That's not a very good image. If somebody else wants to hire you and they go back to that boss that hired you and they say, no, he's a very bad influence and he's very disruptive in the workspace, so I wouldn't fully recommend him. So the hours you've got to work are far from 48 hours. that you're looking at an easy 80-hour week. Yeah, you'll get a load of money. Money's not an issue. Yeah, it's your health and safety. You've got to keep up. You've got to keep alert for what you're doing. Yeah, and that's why certain games to take shortcuts. Okay, whether they've got to meet a deadline for the master copy or gold copy, the finished product that goes on the shelves, basically. You've got to remember that you're a professional. You've been paid to do a job, so learn to take it on the chin if you come across any problems. If it is any problems that get to you that stop you from doing your job, let people know. Okay, and I do mean people, because if it's hardware that you're using, then you really will want to get people, into that. And also, there are going to be studios from maybe all around the world. If it's like a 5-year project, these days it's not. But I think I can mention, because it's out, Call of Duty. They were like, I don't know, 4 maybe 5 years in production to shelf. So really, when you're in the studio, because you've got the job, yeah, which is awesome, humble yourself. Yeah, ask for opinions. Say, is this good? How could this be better? You really don't want to be causing waves. You just go there, do your job, however long you're there for, be it 10 hours or 18. It doesn't matter. But you must know that to be in the games industry, you've got to stay awake and alert. Drink a load of coffee or tea. I wouldn't recommend the energy drinks, because they don't, they just rot your teeth away, and that's no joke. Or they'll turn them a specific colour, stain them that way. When you go on your breaks, then I definitely would keep your thoughts to yourself, because if somebody like a freelancer like I do, yeah. If I get called up and say, can you work on this a little bit, or I get sent something, they'll say, what's good about this, what's wrong about this. Let me get this out there for you right now. There are no bad comments in gaming. You've got to come up with, all you've got to do is come up with an algorithm, which is your basic, it is bad, but this is how you can make it better. And as it stands, it will become better, because you've given your input. They've tended to listen to it, and as a result, they've rewrote the script of certain characters or actors, as it is nowadays, or for the actual game. So that's really cool, and that's heavy on the programmers, I will say that, really. But that's no less work for the entire teams, and teams as in one country to another. You have teams from all over, and let's see. So when you're having a break, do not discuss your project or what you're actually doing as so easily, and oh, I'm doing this, haha. Put your ego aside, humble yourself, and just make sure you're doing what you're paid to do. You're not there for to talk about the games. You're there to design it and make it. Yeah, be part of that. So you don't want to leak information. That's where those false leaks on games come from, because it's not really true, and it's misunderstood. So a lot of things can go wrong in that sense. So as far as the interviewer is concerned, yeah, just ask what are the software preferred, or the preferred software is, and say I've actually used this. You know, it could be potluck that you've worked, you know, for years with the exact software that they're working with. Otherwise, you'll kind of have to train yourself up very fast on how to do it. Again, professionally, it's scary, but when you get it done, when you do it, it is very gratifying and very satisfying, because when you see the game you've created that's on the shelf, that is superb. Anyway, being this is an introduction, all I can really say a little bit more is your social life is going to suffer. So make very good friends with the people that you're working with in studio, because a lot of the time you're going to be sleeping in said studio. So make sure that you've given, you know, a hard thought into what you want to do, and they may offer you a different position. Don't second thought, you know, oh, I don't want to do this. If you can do it, then tell them specific things and areas you're very strong in and areas where you're weaker in. Yeah, there is no point in going to an interview that they've said to you, you know, we'd like you to come along for a simple interview. You need to be prepared. So go with a portfolio or a laptop or a tablet. Make sure it will play, or a stick, but make sure it can be read to play. And if you're a programmer, and you'll have programmer interviewers, so they'll know the kind of code that you're using, and you just make sure you bring a stick or flash drive, whatever, to plug in so they can see it. Anything that, if they've seen a past portfolio and they're impressed with that, that's the main reason why you were called in for an interview, you know, and you weren't that part of the 50%, even more, that were just chucked in the bin because you didn't make the impact that they needed. You didn't ask questions when they ask you, is there anything you'd like to know? You did not ask. So ask as much as they ask you, and hopefully you will get a really cool job, because as far as the game industry and gaming is concerned, it's going on the up and up and up. When you think about TV, that's been around for decades, yeah. Gaming, the first console was, I think we can give gaming. Gaming is still a baby. It's about, even though it's 40 maybe years old, it's come, because of the technology, it's come on in leaps and bounds. So just remember that, yeah, and make sure that you go there prepared, and don't slouch like that. You know, stand nice and confident, listen to what they say, listen, and make sure that you know, they pay attention to the questions you ask them, because them interviewing you is just as important as questions you want to ask them. All you've really got to think about it is they're going to ask you a couple of questions, you can ask them a couple of questions. If you're what they want, and you know, you're down on a short list of who to employ or someone to replace, then that's good for you. I wish you so much luck, and this is part 1 of many series. The next one will be CDD, which stands for Concept Design Document. The Concept Design Document, all you need to know about that is an alpha version, which is basically the very first scratches of a game idea that you've got, that you've written down. You've put out about 50 pages of how cool it could be, and you'll have a bunch of writers from a load of companies saying this can be changed, that can be changed, but there's something here that hasn't been done before. So carry on with it, introduce a load of, you're going to have a load of new ones introduced when you do the GDD, which is far more complex. You'll think, you're going to have like 2,000 pages, so I don't know how many words, pictures, concept art, programming, little bits and pieces, although that's done to make the game put together. You will have programmers looking at it and thinking this could be different, that could be different, and the main designers and the writers of the game themselves thinking that's going to take too long, how long will this take, we'll need a specific skill set for this person to be able to pull this off. So just remember, please, to enjoy yourself when you're doing it, because that'll a model person to employ if you want a really cool person that gets on with everybody and gets the job done that they're employed to do. The only bad thing about the games industry is the hours. They practically stink. You'll be really rich doing it, but 80 odd hours or 70 whatever, you're never going to work a 48-hour week, because even if you do, in hindsight, you'll be lacking a little bit of sleep. It's going to take you longer to sleep, because you'll think on your own computer, what can I do that I could have done differently, so you'll be on your computer even when you're home trying to rest and thinking about this and that, but at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, and it's on the shelf, you will be the person that helped create that. So that's something that nobody can take away from you. Put it on your bucket list or something like that. I don't know how you term that, but okay, so I'll put this out now, and thank you very much for watching. If you want to leave a comment, I'll reply to it, or if you just want to leave anything at all, I'll enjoy reading it. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.